Hello, everybody. Welcome to Comix Rant Mini. I'm your host, Arvin Bautista, and thanks for dropping by. I am doing a series of episodes, past 2 weeks now, for my comic book Christmas Advent Calendar Countdown. Alright, that kind of sounded pretty good in my head. It always changes what I call this thing, but it's essentially me busting out my old comic books and rereading them. And so happens I have a YouTube channel, so I'm gonna share it with you guys as I'm reading them. So thanks for coming by. Anyway, we are gonna take a look at DC Universe DCU Holiday Bash 2. It's been a while since I've been reading these. This is 1998. This is me senior year college. And a lot of these books I've been finding that I bust out are actually from that time period. It's interesting. So I think, I grew up in the Philippines, moved to Hong Kong, studied in Rhode Island, and it was in Rhode Island that I went to college. So I think I kind of had to adjust to how my regular holidays, Christmas time would be. I love Christmas. I loved spending it with my family in the Philippines, but in college, it's a little more expensive to fly back, so it did not happen all the time. I stayed with my aunt in Connecticut, New Haven. I didn't know her when I first started going there, but it was great. I got to know her, and it was fun. I always have these interesting memories about them because she would be working. I would be on winter break, and I'd be there. I don't know anybody in Connecticut, New Haven. Everybody that I know is either back home with their families or like in another state in their own colleges. So I kind of was left to my own for the most part until, Christmas and New Year's. But it was somewhat lonely, kind of isolating in a way, right? Like I would walk around New Haven, look around and stuff like that, but I am definitely an introvert, so that did not happen. I'm not going to make friends all of a sudden. I'm just flipping through this book, by the way. There's some good stuff in here. I will focus on a few of them, but I'm just going to flip through them so you can kind of take a look at them as I gab. And, in New Haven, so I think I found like a newsstand or maybe it was a drugstore. And then they had some comics. They had some video game magazines that I would buy. I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of sketching back then. And I think maybe what I would do was I would buy a bunch of comics in Rhode Island, and then I'd take them with me to New Haven, and I'd kind of read through my pile. So a lot of my favorites seem to stem from that time period, 1994, 1998. I've done stuff that's older than that, but I definitely see a lot of my collection. Christmas story, holiday type comics are from that time, or at least the ones I really enjoy that connect with me. All right, so we saw some of this stuff. Let me flip back here and I'll just call out the ones I really like. So these are cool. Last episode, I was talking about a compilation of these holiday comics in one. It was like a Walmart special thing, so it's 80-page giant. This is still... they're all new books. I don't think any of these are reprinted from anywhere. So they're new stories for this book. And it's cool. A lot of these stories I actually do like. There's a lot of Christmas special books and a lot of them fall flat, to be honest with you. I'm a sucker for them, so I'll probably still give it a shot. But a lot of these short stories in here I really like. I still really do like. Have I said I really like them? Yeah. And this one, the spotlight for me here is The Old Lane by Brian Stelfreeze and Devin Grayson with Carl Story inking. Really good stuff. So I'm a fan of these guys. I'm a fan of Stelfreeze's stuff. I think I did an episode with his Daredevil story. And then this one is a Nightwing story. Nightwing and Batman story. I will flip through this real quick. I will definitely go through it with you guys because I definitely want to share it with you guys. I will spoil it for you, but it's fine. It's only like a few pages. It's good stuff. Okay, so let's go back here in the beginning. So there's another Devin Grayson story. I think she was she was still up and coming around this time. But I like this guy's artwork. It's Will Rosado. So it's kind of like this classic style, really. The story was okay. I think I'm just okay with this story. I was looking for this Chuck Dixon story because I like Chuck Dixon stuff. But this one was the one that kind of like did not go anywhere for me. This one is a good one. It's a Dark Side Santa Claus crossover. It's only 2 pages. It's wait, I forgot. Is it Ty Templeton that drew it? Yeah, Ty Templeton wrote it and drew it, but it's really good. It's a great gag. It's like these first pages, the parademons are like, oh my gosh, he's here again. He's gone through our defenses. And then cut to Santa Claus smoking, probably getting shot at, trying to get to Apocalypse. And he gives him a lump of coal. Awesome. Ho, ho, ho. You're out. This alone is pretty worth it for this book. I don't know if they've ever reprinted some of these things. I don't know why. And then the next one is 'Twas the Night Before Kwanzaa, which is your standard superhero fare. And then by the end, they kind of get together for a Kwanzaa dinner. Again, it kind of didn't really connect with me. What's sad is when I first read that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so gray. And I know that is the look, but the way that it's printed, I think maybe on this newsprint, I know this has a better contrast. Well, I say that as if I've seen the original art, but I know this is a better contrast because I've picked up this Conan book, recently where this black and white art on the online stuff just looks so good. It's Savage Sword of Conan #1. I think it's like magazine edition, but it suffered the same way. Like on this paper, this gray tone just kind of bleeds all out, and all the contrast that the artist probably worked hard on is gone. So a lot of a lot of these faces, these are like all cool faces, but it just really recedes into black, and you cannot see a lot of the great art. So it's a shame. I was not able to really enjoy this at its fullest. I don't think I've seen it reprinted, so I don't really know. But I can tell that it has the same issues that Savage Sword of Conan had issues with. Anyway, so the next one is a silent story. There's no text. Again, that's super fun stuff, and it's Superman. And it's him burning his cape, and the Kents give him a new one. It's a cute story. Real quick and in and out. This is a good one too. So this is a JSA book, a JSA short story. It's cool. It's set in that time period back in World War II, and it's by Howard Chaykin is the writer, and Rich Burchett is the artist. And I think Burchett has done a bunch of comics, but I think he may have also worked on the animated series, Batman Animated. He may have been working on it already and just kind of popped in for a short story here. But it's cool. So you follow this guy, this Navy guy who does laundry, basically, right? You find out he does laundry. He gets kind of pushed around by these top officers and stuff like that. You get to see Justice Society at its finest. And I really like the Justice Society. I got to appreciate them a lot more when Jeff Johns was writing it, and the history of how it all connects to the modern DC universe. So the way that they do it is that Justice Society obviously came before Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. It's not like chronologically accurate, right? Like Superman came before anything came. So, but I like the way that they tie it together. So now they have these older characters that act as mentors to the modern day characters. And I think it breathed a lot of life into these characters for me. So Golden Age Flash, Liberty Bell, all these characters that to other people are probably throwaway characters. Star Spangled Kid, I really like him. Wildcat, like Green Lantern, old school Green Lantern, the Guardian, all this kind of stuff I really liked. Anyway, they are in a party. It's for the armed forces, U.S. armed forces. They're all getting shipped off to World War II. Even Wildcat himself, I think, is going, which is cool. And, we follow this guy. You don't actually know who he is for the most part. Great looking Black Canary classic, right? He gets he stumbles into a date, as the prize with Black Canary. And then he also stops these Nazi saboteurs that are going through the ship. It happens in a ship. I think it happens in a ship or in the base. And This is a great looking Black Canary. Tothy. You know, it's got that nice simplicity, but lots of action going on, dynamic. And, you know, he helps save the day, and he's very humble. You know, everybody's like, oh, you're a hero, you saved the day. And it's like, I think we're all heroes here for what we're about to do. Great story, written really well by Howard Chaykin. I really liked it. And then at the end, I'm going to spoil it. So if you want to stop and read this, you better get out. But I'm about to spoil it. But the ensign, the guy who does the laundry, he ends up being Jim Gordon, a young Jim Gordon. And it's kind of great. The story itself is already a lot of fun. You don't even have to have him as Jim Gordon, but when Howard Chaykin drops it in there, it's like kind of really awesome. It kind of like brings it up a couple notches, but the message is still there. It's a great story. I really like this one. There are a lot of great stories in this one, by the way. I'm still going into that Stelfreeze book, but I just want to go through some of these. This is Sergeant Rock by Russ Heath, I believe, is the one drawing it. I'm not sure who wrote it. Ah, Chuck Dixon. There you go. There's my man. Chuck Dixon doing it. It's a wordless story. It's a Christmas carol. It's wars of past, present, and future. Very silent, but I have grown to appreciate Russ Heath's stuff a lot more in my old age. And he did all these war books, and it's just great. It's a great read. Quick, to the point, kind of sobering. Again, problems from the past are still here in the future. So let's try to learn from our history. All right, let's go to the main event. This is The Old Lane by Brian Stelfreeze. And a lot of this stuff, I mean, this opening 2-pager is great. A lot of these talking head panels are really quick. And I know like how he works is like from these thumbnails that they blow up and then they ink. And a lot of them are still kind of rough. I feel like this Nightwing face is an interesting face. You know, they're kind of rough, but I think it works because it's just fast. It's a quick read. A lot of the story is being carried here. And he actually wrote this story, I think, and then scripted by Devin Grayson. The idea is Nightwing shows up in Gotham, beats up some bad guys. There's some great panel flow going on here. It's crazy, right? Like these stairs lead you down. There's a high kick from Nightwing, and then there's this shot going here, kind of shoots you back into this set of panels, right? And then this angle kind of brings you back up here. There's a lot of that going on. The Gaijin Studios guys, where Stelfreeze was a part of, really believed in leading your eye in a very old school way. With compositionally, the whole page is composed to draw your eye around the page. So just look around. Look around this episode so you can kind of soak it all in. Anyway, he pops up with into Oracle, and Oracle used to be Batgirl. And this happens like in continuity with the Killing Joke in continuity. So in Killing Joke, Joker shoots Batgirl and cripples her, basically. Terrible. Even Alan Moore says it's terrible. And he was surprised they kind of ran with it. Anyway, so she is still in a wheelchair here. She cannot walk. She has changed her alias. And what I liked about this moment is they strengthened this character of Batgirl. They made her even better, I thought, in my eyes, where despite like the things that knock her down, this is crazy. You know, she's Batgirl. She runs around jumping through this buildings, right? But now she's confined to this wheelchair, and that does not stop her from being awesome. I mean, that in itself is like a great hero story, to be honest. But she keeps functioning in this capacity. And she gives information. She like is a great hacker. She uses her brains and helps the heroes out. Sets up her own team eventually. Anyway, so she is in this clock tower thing, which I always thought was a cool base. And Dick Grayson shows up and he's like, hey, let's meet up, you know, and she doesn't want to meet up. She just kind of like doesn't want to. Anyway, she gets convinced because Dick Grayson is a handsome young man, very charming. Apparently, I've been told that by many comic book fans. And, you know, they hang out and it's cool. They go back into like nostalgia days. And I think this is the first time I've seen them interact like this. I'm sure it has existed before, but where there's this kind of romantic tension that happens. And it's kind of logical. it makes sense. And, you know, their banter here is really fun, and it's about how they would mishear things, and and how lame some of their bad guys are. She would mishear the word for the lyrics for the song Old Lang Syne. And she thought it would be Old Lane Sign. Auld Lang Syne. Sorry, even I mishear those lyrics. But it's Old Lane Sign that she would hear. So they would be chuckling about that. And he thought that mistletoe was like a bad guy or whatever. So anyway, they meet up, right? They have Chinese food. They share like some of the sad things that happen in their life and all that kind of stuff. And about, you know, whatever. It's a good story, by the way. Like, it's very, very down to earth. Got a lot of character about these two superheroes that you know. So it kind of informs you with a lot of backstory. Anyway, she busts out mistletoe for him. And it gets awkward. Because what do you do with mistletoe, right? You're supposed to kiss each other. It gets awkward. It's great. Like, you know, there's some great moments here that Stelfreeze builds in moments. Like, literally. Even this one, right? It's like this blank panel. And showing her shock color change too, right? Love this blue that he loves using. And he redesigned this Nightwing costume. And it's great. So it gets awkward. She just leaves. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm tired. Whatever. I'm gone. And then she gets back to the clock tower, and it turns out that Nightwing also had his own present for her, which is a street sign that says Old Lane. Ta-da! Great punchline. Great story. One of my favorite short stories ever. I'm not sure this gets reprinted enough with the Babs and Dick romance here, like this, like really great moonlighting romance, like a slow boil. Moonlighting is an old TV show, kids. It's about like these two characters that almost get together for most of the TV show. Sorry, I just had to explain that because that is an old show. Really great story, highly recommended. One of my favorites to go back to. There's a few short stories I should try to share on this channel about like this Nightwing and Oracle love story. I think I have like 2 more that I really love. I gotta dig them back, but this is one of them, and definitely something I read and reread every time it's Christmas. Yeah, this is a great holiday Christmas book. Definitely worth picking up if you can find it. Flip through it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it makes you want to buy comics, make you buy some Christmas comics. So that's it for this episode of Comix Rant Mini. I am Arvin Bautista, and I wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year's, a Happy Holidays. I will see you guys next time on Comix Rant.